My name is Claudette, and I'm 69 years old. I've lived a good life, a full life. I married a man named Raymond when I was 22, and he loved me the way a man should love a woman. Not just in the beginning, when everything is flowers and champagne, but in the middle years when real love shows up. In the hard years, in the quiet years. He gave me one child, a son named Jerome, and for 31 years I watched that boy become a man. I thought I knew him. I thought I raised him right. 3 days ago, I learned I was wrong about some things. Not everything, but some things that matter. Let me start at the beginning. Raymond died 5 years ago. He left me a lot of things: a house we paid off together, a modest savings account, and a 4-unit apartment building in a neighborhood he believed in. For you, he told me near the end, his hand on mine. For security, for independence, so you'll never have to ask anyone for anything. Raymond was that kind of man. He thought ahead. He thought about me, even when he wouldn't be around to hold my hand anymore. I kept that building for exactly what he said: security, independence. Jerome married Brittany 8 months ago. Beautiful woman, tall, always dressed like she was going somewhere important. There's nothing wrong with that, but something about the way she looked at things, at Jerome, at the world, at me. There was a hunger in her eyes that reminded me of a child pressing their face against a bakery window, convinced that everything inside belonged to them if they just wanted it badly enough. When they needed a place to live, I offered them Unit 3 in my building, rent-free. I told Jerome, "You can save money, build yourselves up, make a real start." Brittany nodded and smiled, but that hungry look never went away. It just got quieter. Then came the wedding. My son was getting married for the second time. Jerome had been married before, years ago. A brief thing that ended without much fanfare. This time, he wanted something grand, something with family and friends and meaning. He came to me one evening and said, "Mom, I want to do this right. I want to put on a real wedding. Will you help?" I said yes. I always say yes to my son. We booked a reception hall that could hold 130 guests. The date was set for a Saturday in March. We ordered flowers and hired a catering company. I bought a dress, a blue dress with just enough elegance that I could wear it to important things and feel like myself. I wrote a check for $9,000 toward the wedding costs. Jerome added $9,000 of his own, $18,000 to celebrate a marriage, to celebrate family. I should have paid better attention to who was being celebrated. The reception was beautiful. The food was excellent. People danced and laughed. Jerome looked happy in a way I hadn't seen in years. Genuine happiness. The kind that comes from believing you've made a good choice. I sat at my table and felt proud of him, proud of my contribution, proud that this day existed. Around 8 o'clock, Jerome stood up to make a toast. He thanked his friends. He thanked the wedding party. He thanked the catering staff. And then he looked at Brittany and he said, "I want to thank my beautiful wife, who has shown me what love really means. Brittany, you've changed my life. She beamed. She actually glowed. Then Jerome said, "And I want to thank my mother, Claudette, for everything she's always done for our family." I smiled. I felt tears start. I reached for a napkin. That's when Brittany stood up. She stood up slowly, deliberately, like she had choreographed this moment 1,000 times. She put her hand on Jerome's shoulder, not affectionately, but like she was marking him as property, and she looked directly at me across the reception hall. 130 people turned to look at where she was looking. 130 people saw my face when Brittany opened her mouth. "Claudette," she said, her voice sharp and clear, carrying to every corner of that reception hall. "I have one thing to ask you, and I need you to do it now. I need you to understand that Jerome and I are building our life together. That Unit 3, that's not your property anymore. It's ours. Our home, our sanctuary. I need you to hand over the keys, all of them. Hand them over right now, and we can move forward. Otherwise, we're going to have to make some changes to this arrangement." The room went quiet, the kind of quiet that happens when people realize they're witnessing something that might go very wrong very soon. I didn't move. I don't know why I didn't move. Maybe I was frozen. Maybe I was waiting for Jerome to say something. Maybe I was waiting for the universe to make sense again. Jerome didn't say anything. He just looked at his wife like she'd said something reasonable, like she'd asked me to pass the salt. I opened my mouth. I said, "No." Just that one word, no. "No?" Brittany's face changed. I watched it happen. The smile disappeared like someone had erased it. "No? Claudette, that's my home. Our home. Hand over the keys." I said, "It's my apartment, my building. You live there because I allow you to live there, rent-free. I will not hand over those keys." Brittany walked around the table toward me. The room was so quiet I could hear the sound of her shoes on the floor. Click, click, click. When she reached me, she put her face down close to mine. I could smell her perfume, something expensive and sharp. She said, "Give me the keys." I said, "No." Then she slapped me. It wasn't a small slap. It wasn't a swat or a gesture. It was a full, hard slap across my face that made my head turn and brought tears to my eyes. The sound cracked through that reception hall like a rifle shot. Everyone heard it. Everyone saw it. 130 people watched my son's new wife slap his mother in public, in front of God and everyone. And Jerome did nothing. He stood there, frozen, like he'd been turned to stone. I sat there for a moment, my face burning. Not from the slap, though that hurt. The burning came from somewhere else. From some deep place in my chest where I keep the important things. My dignity, my self-respect, my refusal to let anyone treat me like I was nothing. I stood up very slowly. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I picked up my purse, I looked at my son once, just once, and I walked out of that reception hall. I walked straight through the parking lot to my car. The evening was cool and dark. The world outside that hall made sense in a way the world inside it didn't anymore. I sat in my car and I cried. Not soft tears, big, hard, angry tears. The kind that come from betrayal, from looking at someone you loved your whole life and realizing you never really saw them clearly at all. After about 10 minutes, I called Marcus Webb. Marcus is my attorney. Not just any attorney. He's a real estate attorney, a serious man in his 50s who has helped me manage my building for 3 years. He's competent and focused, and he knows every detail of my property and every tenant agreement I have. Marcus, I said when he answered, I need you to do something for me, and I need you to do it tonight. I told him what happened. I told him what Brittany said. I told him what she did. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Claudette, Marcus said carefully, are you sure about this? I've never been more sure about anything in my life, I said. Marcus said, give me 30 minutes. 28 minutes later, Marcus Webb walked through the doors of that reception hall, wearing a charcoal suit and carrying a leather briefcase. He walked straight across the dance floor like he owned the place. 130 people stopped whatever they were doing. Jerome saw him, and his face went pale. Brittany didn't recognize him until Marcus walked right up to her and said, Brittany Collins? She looked confused. Yes? I'm Marcus Webb, attorney at law. I represent Claudette Monroe regarding the property located at 1447 Ashford Avenue. I'm here to serve you with official notice of a 30-day eviction proceeding. You are to vacate Unit 3 by April 24th of this year. Furthermore, the property is being listed for sale, effective immediately. He handed her the papers. Brittany screamed. Not a word, just a scream. The kind of scream that comes from someone whose plan has just fallen apart in front of hundreds of witnesses. Jerome jumped up. Mom, what did you do? I stepped forward. I was calmer now. Grief has a way of clearing out the noise and leaving only truth behind. I did what I should have done 30 minutes ago, I said. I took my property back. I took my life back. Brittany was reading the papers now, her hands shaking. You can't do this. Jerome, she can't do this. Jerome looked at me with desperate eyes. Mom, please, we can work this out. We can pay rent. We can... You had a chance to work it out, I said. You had a chance to stand up. You didn't. Then Marcus said, there's one more thing. Everyone looked at him. Claudette has asked me to inform you that the utilities for Unit 3 are being disconnected tomorrow morning. The auto payment for your car insurance is being canceled as of tonight. Your phone service, if it's on her account, is also being canceled. Claudette is no longer covering any of your expenses. Your 30-day notice period begins immediately. Guests started leaving. Not all at once. It wasn't a stampede. But they left. You could see them realizing what had happened. You could see them understanding that this was real, that consequences were happening, that the wedding reception had become something else entirely. Brittany was yelling at Jerome. Jerome was trying to reason with her, which was useless. I walked back out to my car with Marcus. "Are you okay?" he asked me. I said, "I will be," and I meant it. That was 3 days ago. I've been sitting in my apartment, Unit 1, where I live, where I've lived for 8 years since Raymond died. And I've had time to think about everything that happened, about the choices I made, about the choices my son made, about the woman he married and what that means for us. Jerome has called 3 times. I've let the calls go to voicemail. Not because I'm angry. I am, but anger isn't the whole story. But because I need him to understand something. I need him to understand that there are consequences to standing silent when someone hurts the people you love. There are consequences to putting your comfort above your character. I don't know if he'll learn that lesson. I don't know if he'll leave Brittany, or if he'll blame me for this whole thing, or if he'll spend the next 30 days trying to fix something that was broken from the moment his wife looked at my building and decided it belonged to her. What I do know is this. Raymond left me that building so I would never have to ask anyone for anything. So I would never have to accept disrespect or cruelty or the kind of hunger that never gets satisfied, no matter how much you give it. I know that I honored his memory. I know that I kept my dignity. I know that when I sit in my apartment now and look out at the building that is mine, truly mine, because I earned it, and I paid for it, and I own it, I feel something that I haven't felt in a very long time. I feel at peace. The eviction papers are sitting on Brittany's hands. The 30-day clock is ticking. Unit 3 will be empty. My building will be sold to someone who will respect it, and I will move forward. Jerome will have to make his choice about what kind of man he wants to be. That's not my responsibility anymore. That's his work now. Just like it's his work to understand what his silence cost him. Just like it's his work to figure out if that marriage is worth rebuilding, or if it's worth walking away from. But those are his choices to make. Mine are already made. Raymond would be proud.